So one of the things that I find extremely difficult to do is try to draw with one hand as I'm filming with the other hand. And I see some of the other people that are doing this, and I marvel as far as their preciseness and really skill to be able to pull that off. That's something I find to be really, really, really amazing. And I'm doing my best. Part of my comic journey is honing my skills in the best possible way I can to put out decent type of portrayals of my visions. Now, what I'm doing right now is basically playing around a little bit with different designs and characters that I've had I had rolling around in my mind, and trying to get a finalized type of style to them and look to them, and try to get something that could be as consistently drawn as possible, because that's the other thing that's tough to do, at least for me, is draw the same characters in the same type of style over and over again in a panel type of setting. But I'm going to try to get there. How you doing, Comic Proposer? So, like I said, this is extremely, extremely hard to do. At least for me. I don't know about anybody else as far as drawing with one hand. And anybody that's seen me on the AmCam streams, when I do those streams with them, and I'm drawing stuff while we're like bantering and talking, that's what I've been doing. Believe it or not, I've been holding my phone while on the stream and trying to draw on there. Yeah, I know my art is not much to be called art. It's not necessarily anything far more than doodles at this point, at least in my perspective. People have been very supportive and had said some really nice things about it, and I do appreciate that. But I am definitely my hardest critic out of anybody else, and I will be so super critical about what I'm doing. How you doing, Swaggle? Poser, I don't have much of an artistic skill myself, other than just trying to put what's in my mind on paper as much as possible. These are things that are not necessarily comfortable for me to do. But I think if I'm going to end up ever publishing and making my own comic, as I, put a goal for myself to do, I got to get past these hurdles. I have to put something that's adequate out there. The plan is to put together a short little run of comics that I'll be able to share my vision through my writing and through my limited art skills, and hopefully after I do that, there'll be enough people out there that'll be interested enough in what I'm putting out there that would want to team up with me and want to join with me, that have true, true skills as far as penciling, and as far as inking and coloring, and etc. etc. For me personally, I want to see what's in my head put out there in the best possible way, and for people that might enjoy it to be able to experience it in the best way. So the goal is for me to put together a few books that are self-published, see if there's enough people interested in it, and hopefully we'll be able to get some really good talent to jump on, and be able to put future stories and titles together through this format. I've never thought of the struggle of having to replicate the same position, etc., over and over again. Oh my God, that's the worst thing. That's the most difficult thing for me, because I like right now I'm doing this freestyle. I'm not using any kind of source material. This is coming straight out of my mind. Now, when it comes to putting something together over and over again and making it consistent and look right, that's a skill in itself altogether. It's tough. Like, what might be for a average artist out there to do relatively quickly, for me it would probably take 4 or 5 times the amount of time to do that. So it's hard. It's really hard. And like I said, I'm just doing this right now, and as I'm just doodling and putting some things together, I'm like, let me just put a little IG video. Usually I put this stuff through YouTube, but it's harder for me to do it through YouTube through my phone, because it won't let me do live streams like that through there. I guess because I have a small subscription base and that kind of thing. But IG works just as well. And right now, this character that I'm doing is obviously somebody that's kind of tormented. And again, this is like a really rough sketch that I'm putting together. Super rough sketch. So this is how I basically put together my thoughts. I have a character in my head. So I'll do one of these like super rough sketches. You see a lot of like dirt marks. I don't focus as much on the how you call it, and anatomy, which I suck at anatomy, by the way, and it takes a lot for me to get it done the right way, or at least as close to the right way as physically and anatomically correct as it should be. But in these initial stages, I actually just focus more on the overall look, to get that initial character on paper. And then I'll take this character. Let's say I'm done with this. Like, I do a final sketch, a rough sketch, and as I'm finishing it up, I'll look back to it at maybe tomorrow, another day later, with a clear mind after I'm done. Because sometimes if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you tend to not see mistakes, or you pick up on things that you would have done differently, and it works better that way. So so I personally prefer to give it a day, let her rest a little bit, and after that, kind of tweak it and add some more little personal touches. and make sure that, you know, it looks more correct and it looks more ready for something that can possibly be printed and something that could possibly be inked. So a character like this might take me 4, 5, 6 phases before I come to a actual, before I actually come to a, design that I'm actually more geared to being happy with and continuing with. If that makes any sense. I know I'm rambling right now. But I don't know. A lot of other people ramble on IG and on YouTube, and they don't get beat up about it. So maybe I won't get beat up so much about my rambling. And I do have a tendency of rambling a lot. Anybody have anything that they read this week that was really cool? The only thing I've read that was different this week, that was actually really interesting, was Barbaric 1. And I'm actually really intrigued by that story because it's a really fun read. And I like the fact that it's a little different. I don't know about anybody else. I know that a lot of people have been talking about Red Room. I haven't touched that book at all. And I don't know if I want to. I don't like snuff stuff. That's kind of freaky for me. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it out. I don't know, whatever the case is, but I don't know. It's not my thing. Well, I hope I'm waving to everybody correctly, because this is like something that is really new to me. And like I said, if I haven't responded or said hi to you guys, I apologize. Because like I said, I'm doing this as I'm holding my cell phone streaming. I'm trying to draw at the same time and trying to read everything. This is pretty tough. In theory, I guess it sounded like it was going to be easier, but it's really tough. I have not read Serial yet. So, hi Disposable, how you doing? I did not read Serial yet. I don't think I even heard of it, so I'll definitely check it out and see what that's all about. If I like Barbaric, you should check out Sam and his Talking Gun. Poser, you would mention something weird like that, and you know what? I have taken some of your weird suggestions in the past, and they actually were really fun reads. So I will take you up on that offer. I'll check it out. Sam and his, what is this? Talking Gun. Okay, let's check that out. Hopefully my LCS has a copy. If not, I'll try to find it online. That's the other thing. A lot of my LCSs don't have a lot of the stuff that I would really be into. And I got to discover them online. And either get them to start bringing it in. Now, like right now, I'm looking at this tortured creature type of human being. And I'm not going to give you the reasons why I'm putting this character together, because I have a premise and a story that he's going to be attached to. I get to a stage where I'm like almost like about 30-40% done of the sketch, and then I start thinking, how graphic do I want to get with this character? How intense do I want to be with this character? How detailed do I stay clean with this person or a character, or do I get really, really super detailed, which might not translate so well when it gets inked and colored? And that's another thing I struggle with all the time, because oftentimes I'll put things together in pencil format that look decent. In my opinion, I put something decent together. But when it gets inked, you start losing a lot in translation, and at the same time when it gets colored, you lose a lot as well. So it's kind of a quandary of how much detail I want to put in something. Again, I've never been trained in any way in order to put things like this together. This is all coming from like my own, like, just self-teaching, I guess. When I was a kid, I had that how to draw, the Marvel way. That was a fun thing to like try to mimic and do in the past. But I opened up a few books, looked at stuff online. A really good artist that has a YouTube channel that has put some tutorials together that is really helpful is David Finch. I enjoy his art a lot, and at the same time, he does have some really useful videos that I'm slowly starting to look into and pay attention to. And not saying that I could become any kind of David Finch, because he really is a talented person. But at the same time, try to absorb and learn as much as I can from that person. I'll show you something else I was just doodling on before. This is another character that, this is another thing I do. I start to like put some really quick things together, and then I stop like halfway through, not even halfway, like a tenth of the way through, and then some other thought will come to my head, and then I'll start something else, and then I'll go back to the other thing. There's a method to my madness. I know it's not really organized when it comes to that, but at this stage, I'm just trying to really put some things together, some thoughts together. Like, I'll show you stuff like on my desk right now. Like, look at this. Look at this freaky guy that I just put together. This was something that, as I was waiting on hold, during my work day, and I just didn't, have any patience for anything. I just started doodling, and I took whatever I had. I had a highlighter, markers, and I just started doodling something. And this is what I had come up with. Look at this mess of a character. But that's the kind of stuff that I do as far as the way I operate and my thought process. And I don't know if I'm being a little too monotone and a little bit too boring, but I figured I'd do this. I'm not going to let this run too long. But just give everybody a little bit of insight of like how my brain works. And hoping that the same way I'm doing what I do, others that maybe have a little bit more talent than I do get inspired that a person that I'm hitting my middle ages right now. I'm now deciding to actually do something I wanted to do years ago. So, hoping that maybe one of these younger kids that have a lot of talent actually do what they're doing, and go forward with their plans. And by the way, how you doing, VK? It's by Terry Moore. What is by Terry Moore? Good, how are you? Highly disposable. I think I missed something. Oh, Serial. Oh, okay, so that's by Terry Moore, and it's a 5. Issue 5 comes out next week. All right, I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out. Thanks for the heads up on that, VK. Thanks for joining. Yeah, Poser, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm kind of giving everybody a little bit of peek of what I'm doing. And that's why every so often you'll see me throw some random character onto Instagram and that kind of thing. And I'm almost doing my own public survey kind of a thing, or a test. Like sometimes you have corporations or companies that are coming out with a new product, and they do product tests where they bring in a whole bunch of people and they give them their opinions, unbiased. So I'm almost kind of doing the same thing, but a lot of times by throwing up some characters, some of the art that I'm working on, that kind of thing, by just throwing stuff out there and just seeing what people have to say about it, and see if publicly the choices I'm making are, one, acceptable, and two, if this is something that somebody that would be an active reader or active collector of certain type of stylizations would be interested in. Because the last thing I want to do is actually be pompous enough to actually say to myself that I'm going to make something exactly the way I want to do it, without taking any consideration of whether there'll be others out there that can understand my vision. Obviously I'm going to make something the way I want to do it, but I'm also going to take into consideration certain elements of the whole process. I have to put something out there that is at least acceptable as far as readable, visually pleasing to some extent. Again, everybody has different art styles and that kind of thing. You got, one of my favorite artists out there that doesn't do a lot of work is Simon Beasley. By far, I love that style. But he doesn't do a lot of stuff out there. But at the same time, I can't hold every artist to the same standard and the same type of skill that he has. So, everybody has their own style. Every book has its own style. Every character that's drawn should have its own look and that kind of thing. Not everybody could be Frank Frazetta. There was only one, and he had his style. And if I was going to pick somebody to do some kind of fantasy cover art, that was going to be the guy, by far, or anything else. This guy, anything he would touch would be gold. But, Jack Kirby had his own style. You have people that love Jack Kirby stuff. You have other people that are not so, thrilled with him. I'm in the middle. I like Jack Kirby stuff. I love what he pioneered. I love that cosmic crackle and square jaw characters that you have, but it doesn't fit all characters out there. It definitely doesn't. Look at what's going on with John Romita Jr. People, love to hate him a lot of times, and it's not fair, because he's got a certain style, and he should be a little more selective as far as what characters he draws, to be honest with you. But for certain characters, his style, especially his today style, not what he first started with, because when he first started with, he was a lot more universal. He could draw a lot of stuff without really causing much of a stir. But once he started getting into that blockier, grittier type of look, for me, he should be drawing Punisher and Daredevil and characters like that all the time. That's feeding into his best talent. The look that he had on Superman just didn't do it for me. Even the later look of Spider-Man that he did just didn't do it to me. The earlier stuff he did on Spider-Man was great. I even loved the stuff that he did on Uncanny X-Men during his run there. But it's changed. Everybody's got their own style. Everybody has to look in a different way. And again, I'm just letting you guys know, if I didn't press wave to you, or I didn't properly press wave, I apologize. I'm trying to do this in the best way I can. But All right, I think I rambled too much. I said enough. You saw kind of stuff that I'm working on, and I'm going to try to do things a little bit more polished in the future. But, this just came through my head, and I just felt like doing something. If you think what I'm doing is, a misguided and bad venture, let me know. If you could give me some tips to improve myself, I would really appreciate that as well. And if you could give me tips as far as getting this whole process started from beginning to end, from concept to actual putting everything on paper to actually doing a print run and publishing, I would love to hear that as well. Have a great day, Highly Disposable. Thank you, VK, because I think you're still on there. And Poser, thank you for being on there. And any questions you have. And obviously, if you have any questions or comments you want to make to me, you could always reach me on my DM. All right, have a great day, guys. And have an awesome 4th of July, by the way. Don't blow off any fingers. How the hell do I close this thing?